Philip Toll is with us, our International Affairs Editor. We have another guest joining us too in a moment, Mark Pierini, former EU Ambassador and Head of Delegation to Syria and Turkey. Philip, first, can I just ask you, the issue here about Turkey, about the tectonic plates, the fault lines that are already there, it is an area, sadly, that is prone to this kind of earth-moving activity.
Well, let's put it into context, shall we? If you look back at the year 2022, there were 22,000 tremors in Turkey alone, and also in neighbouring Syria. And that means that whatever happens, earthquakes, tremors, tectonic activity does not respect borders or frontiers. It's going to go across the border from one country to another. So this is a hotbed of seismic activity in this part of the world. You can see on the map here, there are several fault lines and tectonic plates. There's the North and Eastern Anatolian faults. Then there are also the Eurasian, the Arabian and the African plates. Now, these plates are pushing one against another. And from time to time, they push and they cause an earthquake. Normally, they will move about 2 centimetres a year or so. And that's why periodically in this region you have these devastating earthquakes. Everybody remembers the last one, we've been talking about it, from 1999 in the same area around Izmit, which killed 17,900 people. But that's not the worst quake. There was one back in 1939, which was in eastern Turkey. That left nearly 33,000 people dead. So this is a regular occurrence in Turkey. Just to put it into context, this is about 7.8 on the Richter scale, the quakes that we had today. If you look back to another famous earthquake, the one that was in San Francisco in 1906, that was the one that's known as the big one. That destroyed almost the whole city. It's estimated, because the Richter scale didn't exist at the time, that it was probably about 7.9 on the Richter scale. Look at the damage that was done to San Francisco back in 1906. Then you can compare to the sort of damage we're seeing in Turkey and also Syria following these two earthquakes today. Another problem here is that, as we've been hearing in these reports, the infrastructure is not built to resist this kind of earthquake. Why is that the case? Because there isn't the means available to do that. There are not the proper architectural techniques to try to withstand a seismic activity. But even if they were in existence, and sometimes they are, it's pretty rare that a building can survive a 7.8 or 7.9 earthquake on the Richter scale, which is really extremely high and extremely violent. So that is why we've seen so much devastation, coupled with the fact that these buildings were not designed to withstand this kind of seismic activity. Linked to that, there's also corruption, people who will build buildings just to make money, but no, they're not strong enough to resist even a much weaker tremor. So that explains why we're seeing so much damage and so many casualties, unfortunately, not only in Turkey, but also in neighbouring Syria.
Indeed, neighbouring Syria, of course, in an area which has been completely blighted by the civil war, which began in the wake of the Arab Spring in 2011. Philip,